Super Bowl is next Sunday. Today's date. What's today? Anybody know?
I wasn't even ready for that question.
Right?
You just
It's
asked me.
Sunday the 6th.
Pop quiz. It's
Sunday
February
the
6th.
It's Sunday the 6th. Super Bowl is next Sunday. Who you got? Apollo.
I have to preface this. I'm from Ohio. I'm from Southwest Ohio. I actually grew up in Dayton and Cincinnati. I'm a former Bengals fan. I'm not anymore. I'm not going to jump back on the bandwagon because they're winning now. Because I feel like I don't think it's bad to change teams. Like, it's like getting out of a bad relationship, right? It's like, it's good for you. Like, you got to if it's a bad relationship, like, to all you Browns fans out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, sometimes you got to give up. And we'll talk about that actually too in blindfolded shit. But all that said, I'm not a Bengals fan anymore. I wish them all the best, and I would like to see them win the Super Bowl. I think if they do win, I'm still not gonna call myself a Bengals fan, but I will be happy for them. I'm not a bitter ex in this situation. Joe Burrow is dope, man. Jamar Chase is dope. Their defense is shitty in my opinion, but apparently that hasn't stopped them from getting to where they are. So I would like to see the Bengals win. All that said, they're not gonna win. Like, first of all, the Rams have way more talent on their team. Even though Jamar is as good as Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are, the Rams have like so much talent in so many positions on their team. Like, it's so much to deal with. Matt Stafford is really fucking good. He's always been really fucking good. He just wasn't a winner, and he was also in Detroit. I could go into a whole thing about that, but I won't. But that said, man, like, the Rams, I think, are a better team. I've been saying this all year. Well, not even all year. I would say about halfway through the season, I started being like, you know what? The Rams are pretty fucking good. Yeah. So I think the Rams, as soon as the playoffs started, the Rams, in my opinion, were the best team in the playoffs. They've proven that by, getting to the Super Bowl, or at least they've proven that to me by getting to the Super Bowl. I think they're a better team, but also, last little tidbit, LA is fucking favored. Like, LA gets favored by the refs, they get favored by the fucking fans, they get favored by the leagues. They got 2 fucking basketball teams, 2 fucking football teams, because they're greedy fucks. They think the world revolves around them almost as bad as people from New York. Fuck LA, you know what I'm saying? Nah, not really, because I want to go. You know what? I like LA way more than I like New York as a person that hasn't been to either place. Which is weird for me to fucking say that. I haven't been. Oh, wait. No,
Man,
I haven't been to NYC proper.
Yeah.
I haven't been to LA.
Just say it.
But just as a non related party, like, I fuck with LA more than New York. But if we're being realistic, LA is going to be given favoritism, I think, by the refs, and I think that they're a better team, and I think for those reasons. Oh, and the last reason why the Bengals are going to lose, because eventually they're going to do some Bengals ass shit. I think the Bengals, I'm going to say this now, this is my one specific that I will say. The Bengals will have around, they're going to have about 100 yards in penalties. And that's what's going to probably lose them this game. Now, I hope I'm wrong. If they have turned over a new leaf and they're able to get by and not do that, great. Good for them. If they win, I will be happy. I'm not going to be upset, but I just don't think they will. The Rams are a better team. They're going to be favored. The Bengals are going to make more mistakes that cost them penalty yards, and that's why the Rams are going to be the Super Bowl champions. I rest my case.
I think.
Man, that was a pretty good point.
Yeah, that is a great point. I think that if the Rams fuck this up, they're the biggest fuck-ups in my entire time watching sports. This is a Super Bowl that is in Los Angeles, and you're the Los Angeles Rams.
Facts.
In a place that doesn't care about football, and you have an opportunity to make them care about football. If you don't get this shit done, you're such a fuck-up. That's one. Second, I think Cincy's going to win.
I gotta hear this. I mean, they're a good team, so I'm not saying they're shitty, but I gotta hear this.
So, in the Bible,
this nigga really started off with in the Bible, though.
In the Bible, Moses led his team from slavery into the promised land, but he didn't actually reach the promised land himself because of his hubris.
So we going with this. Okay.
Because of his hubris. There was a part in the story where like the Israelites were wilding, they're like being complete dicks to Moses, and they're like, man, I'm fucking thirsty. You know who sucks? Moses. And they're just all talking shit. And then Moses and Aaron prayed to God, and God was like, go hit that rock and I'll give him some water. And Moses was like, do me and Aaron gotta bring water out this rock for y'all? And they're like, yeah. And they hit the rock, water came out, and God was like, you know what I don't like? The fact that you took credit for my shit. Just for that, you don't get to go into the promised land. And so, like, they got all the way to the promised land. Like, they were right there. They're about to cross in.
After wandering for a very fucking long time.
After wandering for, like, years and years. 40.
40 years.
And he was like, God was like, hey, Moses, you know I told you, right? And then Moses was like, fuck, man. Goes up to the top of a hill. Him and God have a conversation. And God kills that nigga before he gets to the bottom of the hill. He didn't get to make it into the promised land. Meanwhile, all of the people made it into the promised land. All the people that have been talking shit and doing all kinds of rowdy shit and just fucking up because of...
Don't you dare compare Marvin Lewis to Moses. If that's what you're about to do, I'm just going to say.
So, Moses' hubris cost him... it cost him access to the promised land. I believe that Los Angeles is playing a Super Bowl at home. They're doing all of the things that you would want.
Right.
But they also have like a performance by Dr. Dre and like Snoop Dogg and Kendrick Lamar and all that other shit. It's like the stage is set for them to win.
Yeah, that's true, man. Because everything is this is like the most LA thing to happen. Like I couldn't even say the last thing that was like this heavily LA. So yeah, I feel you.
With all that, it just seems like they're gonna find a way to fuck it up. I don't know what it's gonna be, but Moses fucked it up. So
Matt Stafford is, and like I know a few people that are like Matt Stafford fans, and they seem to all be convinced like Matt Stafford is going to regress to the average. Like we know how statistics work, and they have that concern, and I feel it. So yeah, I think it can go either way. And like as far as like how the season has wrapped up, we've seen some of the greatest parity in the league in a long time. Yeah. And that's great, man. Like it's great to not feel like a certain team is a shoo-in. And no team was that except for the Buccaneers. And I'm so glad that the Rams beat them. And I think partially for that reason too is like another reason I'm rooting for them, because I fucking hate the Bucs and I fucking hate Tom Brady, which is our next topic.